Haven't made a video in a while. I just went on a solo trip to Mexico, so I want to talk about it a bit. Mexico City was my first destination. Mexico City was really interesting. It's kind of got a mix of everything. So I started in central old Mexico, kind of the old city center. The way that Mexican cities are built, it's kind of interesting. It's very similar to some European cities. You have your main plaza, and then usually the cathedral is right beside that main plaza. And then the streets kind of sprout from there, making up the old Mexico. That's where my hostel is. And on the first day there, I met a cool dude from Taiwan, and we kind of hanged out throughout the week. The highlight of the trip, though, was the temples. I don't know if I can get this to show that well here, but you might have seen these in Aztec when you're studying Aztecs, but this is actually not the Aztec temple. This is built by Teotihuacan, which is actually a civilization that predates the Aztecs, which they call Mexico. Going to Mexico City, you're going to expect a lot of history, a mixture between these ancient civilizations and the Spaniards who came to conquer the land. So you start in central Mexico, and then you kind of experience the European style. And then you move to Roma Norte and Condesa, a bit more modern, good for shopping, lots of good food there. And then maybe you go to Polanco, finally. And that's kind of the rich people's area, the Ginza equivalent from Japan. So that's Mexico City. I stayed for a week. The food was great, but towards the end, I was kind of getting sick of tacos, quesadillas. Maybe I'm just not that into tortilla. I'm not sure. Had a lot of good street food. Street food in Mexico is really strong. Some tasty stuff like skewers, and then your standard taco stands. Pretty cool, very spicy. When you go to the food stands, they give you the real shit because they don't care that you're a tourist. But if you go to a sit down, sometimes they don't give you the most spicy stuff. But anyways, after about a week, I was having dinner with my friend from Taiwan. Throughout the entire week, we've been having street food. Everything's fine. No issues whatsoever. And on the last night, we have a steak dinner from a hotel. It was 4 or 5 star. Okay? And as fate would have it, that's the one that would get us. We both got food poisoning. It's not the full Mexico experience without some food poisoning. So my dude was in his in his hotel room. He called a private doctor. He was on IV. He ate a bit more, and he was a bit more sick. I, on the other hand, got on my plane, flew to Oaxaca, which was my next destination, walked towards my hostel, took the bus, was puking. It was not the greatest experience. I was done on the first day in Oaxaca. I was basically sleeping in the hostel. Had a bit of a cold. But the good news is it only got me for one day. And the next day I was up and running. Oaxaca was an interesting city too. It still got the European style. My hostel was again in the central part of the city. You have your main cathedral, have a plaza, and then the streets kind of go out from there. But Oaxaca's cool is because it's kind of in a valley between mountains. Some of the greatest scenery I've seen in Mexico was definitely on this Oaxaca section of the trip. I saw the petrified waterfalls. I don't know how to say it in Spanish. Something El Higuero de Agua or something like that. See if I can find a picture here. So this is like what they call the infinity pool. People are swimming in the pool. And then the waterfall itself. So if you can see that, it's kind of hard to see on this camera. But that's not water, that's like calcified rock or some shit. I don't know. But that was really cool. And then went to Mont Alban, which was another historical archaeological site with the temples. These people were trading with the Mayans. And as you know, one of the seven wonders, Chichen Itza, is built by the Mayans. But that's in Yucatan. So that's a bit more to the east. Yeah, east side. When you fly to Cancun for your resort, you could hop in, maybe drive down to Chichen Itza, not too far away. That's probably my next trip when I go to Mexico. I mean, Mexico, there's so much to see. One trip is not going to be enough. And then Oaxaca is also the food center of Mexico. At least that's what the locals tell you. Okay? So locals told me, food center, pretty good. I really enjoyed the buffets. Had a lot of meat, skewered meat, and a lot of different soup. Mole, okay? I tried a lot of mole, which is kind of like this mixture, stew. It could be sweet, it could be spicy, whatever. So yeah, Oaxaca ended, and then I decided to take the bus. I almost missed my bus. Basically, I entered my bus stop in Google Maps and then pointed me in the wrong direction. And there's no Uber in Oaxaca. Okay, normally you just do Uber. Uber is super convenient in Mexico City. Very cheap, very fast. Highly recommended. Or Didi. I heard that's good too, but I didn't use Didi. I just use Uber. This is not a sponsored segment. I just use Uber. It's cool. It works. Anyways, in Oaxaca though, there's only a taxi. So I basically just ran down the street to catch my bus. It was about a 20-minute run. I was all sweaty. I went to the location that I thought was a bus stop. There's nothing there. Okay, ask local, point. Okay, they're like this, 20 minutes, probably something I heard. And then I go, I meet two other travelers. They're like, oh yeah, we're going that way. And I'm like, okay, maybe that's the way. Ask some more locals, triangulate, figure shit out. And then finally I realized, oh, okay, it's in the other side. So finally I go there. And then I'm like, I see a lineup. I'm like, I bought a ticket online, but do I need to go in this line? Let me line up. And the line's going super slow. I'm like, dude, there's like 3 minutes left. My bus leaves at 9. It's 8:57. I'm like, try to talk to a local. Do I need to go through the stand if I have a ticket online? He's like, no, you don't. And I'm like, okay, great. There's a bit of Spanish, bit of English. My Spanish, really garbage. But I learned a couple words, okay? Learned a couple words. Panos. Very important. You need to know where the washroom is. Okay? Panos. Okay, so anyways, I get on the bus. It's like 8:59 and the bus left at 9:02 or something. And then you take the bus. My next destination is Puebla. So I go there. It's basically a 6-hour bus ride. It's supposed to be 5 hours, but delays, traffic. So it was like 7 hours, 6-7 hours. Get to the hostel, meet this cool dude. I actually met a lot of cool dudes on this trip. There's one dude I met in Oaxaca. Let's back up a little bit. This one guy, very memorable. He said he's been solo traveling for 10 years. He did Europe. He did Asia. He did South America. Now he's in Mexico. And he says he basically only has Africa left. I think he's 30, 35. He said by another 5 years, he's going to be done. Maybe when he's like 35, 40. I can't remember exactly what his age was. But he told me, food poisoning, rite of passage. The worst thing is like the water one where you drink dirty water, and that apparently got him for a week. So thankfully I got the light version, didn't get the full spectrum. but had a taste. Okay? Anyways, he said he would just volunteer at different hostels and then, travel very light. And he said one time it got really close where he just played guitar on the streets and then got some money and moved right along. So, you really meet a lot of characters when you're solo traveling, especially in hostels. Very cool. Okay, now let's fast forward. I'm in Puebla now. I'm supposed to go to Chacula, but there's no tour. And one thing I realized is you do need a tour guide. It makes a huge difference between you kind of just like walking around the site and not knowing what you're looking at versus like a tour guide explaining to you the history, the culture, and then you can like then see, oh, it's that. Okay, so I'm in Puebla, meet this cool guy. He's like a military dude. He said he's retired for a bit on a sabbatical. He's out of the military. He's going to travel. He's going to go through Mexico and then go through Central America, all the way down South America, Chile, Argentina, and come back up. He's on 6 months of his trip. He's probably going to take 5 years or, I don't know, a couple years, let's say. 2 years. Okay. Next day, I go on a walking tour. There's a lot of cathedrals in Puebla because apparently, according to my tour guide, it's like the city that the Spaniards try to build for themselves. That's what Puebla is. That's why there's so many different cathedrals. And then a really interesting thing is, the Spaniards were Catholics, right? So they believe in Saint Mary, who is the mother of Jesus. A really cool thing is there's like this Mexican version with like brown skin. And then in cathedrals, you have both like the Spaniards version of Saint Mary and also the Mexican version. And you can also see little altars throughout Puebla. Apparently, according to the tour guide, he said it's so that when people want to commit crime or something, they look at Saint Mary, right? They see the altar and they're like, you know what? I'm going to go down a better path. Something like that. Very interesting. And then we also learned about the wrestling. What was it? Libre something. My memory. He said it's wrestling for like the Mexican people. And then the wrestlers are seen as heroes. It's like a performance, right? Like wrestling is a performance. Same thing as WWE. And there's like not that much entertainment. So that's something by the people for the people. You really learn a lot about history when you go to like Mexican cities. That's what I really enjoyed about the Mexican trip. And then on the last day, I take the bus back up to Mexico City, buy some souvenirs, buy some gifts, and then I'm on my way and I'm back home. My thoughts are Mexico is really cool, very rich in history and culture. One trip is definitely not enough to see everything. It is a perfect destination to escape the cold winter of Canada. And I will be heading back again maybe in a year or two. That's about it. See ya.